Well, hey there, everyone. Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Expert. I am super thrilled to be here with all of you this evening. So, if you are joining us live, be sure to leave a comment, say hello, let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're watching from as well, whether you're watching from Hong Kong or elsewhere. I'd love to hear from you. All right, so I'm super excited about today's interview. We are at episode 6. So, as you guys know, I started these episodes several months ago when we launched our online vocal academy. And every month we bring on a guest expert from the music industry, and we just have a chat and we have a conversation about all things related to vocal performing, related to music, related to anything around specifically music. So I hope that you've been enjoying these sessions. Okay, so do you think, here's a question for you, do you think that you need a music degree in order to be successful in the music scene? Or do you secretly want to develop your skills in music, but you're afraid that maybe you're not going to be taken seriously, or that it might be too late for you to get started? Or are you just someone who's really, really into music and you love hearing stories, behind the scenes stories about what life is like, what life is really like in the music industry? Now, if this sounds like you, then you're going to love today's interview that I'm doing right now with one of Hong Kong's most popular songwriters and music producers, Gareth Chan. 陈好伟. So we're going to be talking about how he made his way from working a desk job at an IT company to learning how to piece together a home recording studio from watching YouTube videos, I kid you not, to finally discovering his place in the music industry. So we're going to be talking about all of these great things and more. But before we begin, I want to tell you a little bit about my vocal assessment quiz and guided vocal exercise routine that you can get right now for free just by clicking the link in the description of this video. So in case you're watching this for the first time, my name is Crystal Diaz and I'm a singer, vocal coach at CSMA Studio and also co-founder of the Online Vocal Academy, where we teach busy people who love to sing but who don't have time for regular vocal lessons. We help them go from feeling unsure about their voices to becoming confident and admired vocal performers. So if this sounds like you, then you're going to love getting your hands on my play and sing guided vocal exercise routine. It is literally play and sing. You play and you just sing along, and it's tailored to your vocal goals. So how does that work exactly? Just click on the link in the description box, or you can visit quiz.onlinevocalacademy.com. All you got to do is answer 5 questions as best as you can, and then you're going to get a whole practice outline and vocal exercise routine with my voice guiding you through it at every step of the way, all for free. So don't forget to check out quiz.onlinevocalacademy.com. All right, so Gareth Chan. I've known Gareth for a while, and I'm super thrilled to have him feature him today as our guest expert of the month. We've known each other for quite some time, but it's really only, I believe, in recent years that we've had the opportunity to kind of be in each other's world. He was actually a student of mine, and then several years later, after I remember him having lessons with me, he started referring his artists to me. And I remember students were telling me, "Oh, Gareth Chan referred me, Gareth Chan," and I would think to myself, "Huh, is it that Gareth Chan that I know?" So what's interesting is that when I got in touch with him to invite him to this interview, I couldn't find his bio anywhere. And I asked him, "Hey, do you have a website?" And he said, "No." And I actually had to find his background and his credentials off of Wikipedia, which actually somebody else had created for him. And this is just testament to how incredibly humble and authentic this Gareth Chan truly is. So Gareth Chan is a multiple award-winning songwriter and music producer with multiple hit songs under his belt. He's worked with some of the biggest names in the Hong Kong music industry, including Alfred Hui Tingheng, and Jill Vidal, YC, Wai Lan, Janice Vidal, Lam Yantong, Mag Lam, Yufei Carrie Ng, Supergirls, Zhao Pat Ho, Paco Chow, Lin Xia, Shiga Lin, Arif Lee, Lei Tang, Dear Jane, to name just a few. All right, so without further delay, let's bring on Gareth to join us live.
Hello. Hi.
Hello! Hey, Gareth. Gareth. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Such a welcoming voice.
Voice, that's what I do, right? All right, I actually do want to know. I think I tried to ask you this, but I don't think we got a chance to talk about it. How you had lessons with me, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, but at the time, had you started yet, or in the music industry, or were you just starting out? I don't even remember when that
No, I
was.
remember I just started because I took lessons. I remember I came to you and I said that I somehow want to sound better in my own demos. That's why I took the lessons.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now that you say that, I totally remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And yes, 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 I remember that. And then through the years, I've heard your name a lot among my students as well. And then it took me like a little while to actually connect the dots that they're talking about the same Gareth Chan that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had
yeah.
lessons with. Amazing, awesome. And hey, Solera, I see that you are here. Solera is an Inner Circle member, one of our members in our Inner Circle. So I hope,
Hello.
Solera, that you will stick around for the Zoom session, the private Zoom session afterwards as well. Lovely to have you here. All right, so first question, Gareth. We got a lot of questions to cover. I had so many questions that I wanted to ask you. But first of all, I want to know, did you think you would ever have a full-time career in the music industry, or did you initially envision yourself doing something totally different?
I actually didn't think I would do it as a profession because I was more like playing in my own bedroom at first, and then the traditional family, like I get pressure a lot, right? And they usually say, oh, it's hard to do music. Music is not a real job, and blah blah blah. Yeah, and
My goodness.
and so I ended up coming back from Canada, and I applied for a normal job. You can say a normal job. It's just because I studied computer science, so I was doing IT for quite some years. But during these years, I would still, in my own spare time, I would be playing with music and anything that's related to music. I would be going to shows. I'd be going to like, parties and stuff. And when I go to parties, I actually don't like party. I just go there and enjoy the music. And
You're literally there for the music.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm literally there for the music. And so in my early ages, the first proper or the music that I was caught onto was electronic music. So and during that time, like I think around 1999, electronic music scene in Hong Kong was actually really huge. It was really big, and it was every week there were like 3, 4 electronic music parties, festivals, right? So I would try to go every week just to enjoy the music and because they would invite a lot of international acts over, and it was just really overwhelming with all those different types of electronic music. And that's when I uh, thought, oh, I want to be that guy on stage. I want to do that. And it was just all. It wasn't composing yet. It was just all DJing and stuff. So then I was lucky, and I met someone there that I made friends with. He was a DJ there like every week, and I told him like when he went off stage, I went up to him. I was 14, okay, like I was underage. I don't know but I made my way in. I made my way in, and then so I was just like, oh, I really want to learn. I've been doing this and trying to pick up DJing and stuff. And then he would be like, oh, my house is actually next door. Why don't we go to my house next door? I have a whole setup there, and I can teach you. I'm like, wow, this dude is really nice. But I was actually 14, so it was actually pretty dangerous.
So wait, I just want to understand this picture here. You were at these festivals, and you were underage at these festivals, and then you
Yeah,
saw DJs, obviously, and then you just walked up to this DJ and said,
yeah,
"Hey." Oh,
yeah.
okay. Amazing.
I
Okay.
yeah, I just walked up to him. Hey, you're really cool. Like what you're doing is really cool. Like I really want to learn. And this guy was actually really nice. He said, yeah, I can teach you.
Oh
And then
wow, amazing. Who
and
was he? Do you know his? Are you still in
Frankie
touch?
Lamb, Frankie Lamb.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
totally know him. Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
he did salsa.
Yeah,
He was in. I totally know who this guy is. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness. Okay, okay, okay. Carry on. Carry on.
So he's still DJing right now, you know,
Yeah,
and
I
and
heard.
and so then he brought me to his house, and then I saw the DJ set. I was like, whoa, you know, like, and then you know, it's just like a kid, you know, and then so he started teaching me, and then I'm like, oh yeah. After I was like, oh, I don't think I can afford a DJ set. You know, it's really expensive. Like, no way a 14-year-old kid can afford one. And he was so nice. He lent me his whole set to practice, and he would come over and teach me. And he was just, I don't know why he was so nice, but you know, I was just really lucky. And then
Amazing.
so every day after school, I would just lock up in my room and just play, practice,
Can I have
practice.
to ask this question because you, since Solaris says here, Asian parents, such a downer, such downers.
Oh,
But I
you
do
can
want to
do
know.
that.
Yes, yes, pretty cool, right? But I do want to know, what did your parents? Did you parents know that you were like hanging out with this older guy and he's teaching you and he's taking you to clubs and things like that? What did your parents think about all that?
Actually, in terms of going out or curfew, I didn't really have any problems with
Okay.
that. They knew I went to the parties for music, but they did always tell me to, you know, be careful, you know, parties, there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of drugs, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I'm just there for the music. And
And
they
you
would see
meant
me,
it, yeah.
and because every day they go home, they just hear the loud music blasting out from my room, so they know I'm DJing, you know, and and so they know I'm really into it. But you know, obviously they're like, you know, you still gotta focus on your studies and stuff. So just every spare time I had, I would, you know, try to craft my art. And,
So let's talk. Let's talk. You mentioned a little bit about university. Let's talk about your days in university. And you studied computer science. You said that, right?
yeah,
And so, what were some of? Did you have music during university, or did you just take a break from music? And what was that like for you?
I took a break, a short break, because I don't know. I think the music scene in Canada is really different. So when I went there, I was hoping I could land some you know, DJ gigs or work, right? Because I already started establishing myself as a DJ in Hong Kong. But then I just didn't know anybody there, and the electronic music scene wasn't big there. People were more into hip hop over there. So and my roommates in uni, they were all into hip hop, and they're just all rapping and stuff. I'm like,
But
I
did you pick your roommates, or did you know them, or no, or
random,
just okay?
random.
Isn't this interesting? Right now, like you so far, you've told me two very random incidences that have led you to
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
Randomly going to the electronic festival, meeting a DJ who kind of took you under his wing, and then going to university and happened to be with people who just loved hip hop and influenced
yeah,
you. Amazing. Okay,
yeah.
carry on. I just wanted to ask that.
So they're like, so they started asking because they knew I was DJing, right? So they're like, oh, do you make music? Do you make beats and stuff? I'm like, I don't, but you can teach me though. So they just told me to download a software, which is like pretty still popular right now. Like a lot of big producers still use it to make music on it, and it's pretty user friendly too. You don't need any sort of like technical or music knowledge to operate it. So I started learning that software, and I started making these like amateur beats for my roommates, and they would record over it. And that's when I got into more into the songwriting, composing side area of music. Because DJing is more like I'm just playing music, right? And just like kind of connecting music together. But yeah, the hip hop part was my kind of startup composing. And yeah.
Yo, that's so. When you were doing that, though, I mean, how did I mean? You had what was first of all? What was the software? I'm just curious.
Fruity Loops. It's called Fruity Loops.
Okay,
So
I'm not even going to pretend like I know what that is.
just search it. It's a really
Okay.
popular. It still is right now, and it's way more advanced and even more user friendly. Like a lot of Western top producers still use it now, and you know they just make music out of their laptop.
So okay, I just want to. So you have Fruity Loops, and then you create beats, which I get,
Yeah,
and then what you sing melodies on top of that, just to
I
mix stuff up,
actually
or
didn't know about anything about vocals and singing, so I would just play on a keyboard like note by note, but because I wasn't a pianist either, I didn't know how to play piano. So you can use your mouse and actually, you know, draw notes in
oh, so
there.
you were actually clicking with the
Yeah, I was
mouse, like
clicking notes.
oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
So yeah, I was
okay.
just like, I was a clicker.
Okay, got it. Yeah, you were. What is that? A click player? I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah,
But okay, so you just started figuring things out and just
yeah,
basically having fun with music.
yeah.
And were
Just
you doing it for any purpose? Like to were you thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm going to make the next big hit single or whatnot,
no,
or was it just
totally
something you were
not.
doing?
Like it was just some like a hobby thing, and it was just something to do after school, pretty much. And it's really fun because like all the friends get together and they write their own little verses, and then they sing on top. And we would find, and there's actually some singers in uni, right? So we would ask them to, oh, can you sing a chorus for us? And we just record that and we turn it into like a song. And then we would start looking further. Oh, let's make our own little EP, with like concepts and stuff. But it was all in the
That's
bedroom.
yeah, so
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I guess that's the equivalent to back in the day when people used their garages and recorded out of their garage. Really,
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
kind of
Billie Eilish still does that.
yes,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
She what
yeah,
in the garage or in her bedroom? Like
yeah. In her bedroom, like her most hit song was done in a bedroom.
that's
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
exactly right. It's a great example.
yeah,
But what I love about that what you talked about is that you had music in your life and you didn't think that you were going to be doing it professionally. You didn't think that I'm going to do this professionally. You just literally just did it for fun.
I think the most important is as long as you enjoy it, like
Mm.
you won't even think about whether it's gonna bring you to somewhere or it's gonna support your living or whatever. It's just that moment you really enjoy doing. You just go do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I love that image of you with your friends and connecting over music because really, if you didn't have music to bond you as
yeah,
a group, I think that environment would have been very, very different for
yeah.
you.
It's like music really connects a lot of people. It connected me to a lot of different people. Like probably because I'm a really passive person, but because of music, it
Really?
made yeah, I'm a really like if people first know me, they would know me as like a quiet person.
You are.
But because
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
but with music, it's just like there's so much to talk about, there's so much to share, and it's just such an easy way to express yourself.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about what happened after university. So you went to university, you got a degree, you came back and you got a regular job, what you call it, a normal job, right?
Yeah.
And so what was that like for you? So knowing that you weren't around music, you were in IT,
It
was
was
that
sad.
something?
It was sad. I was every
Oh
morning.
dear.
Every morning I wake up and go to work and I sit in front of the computer and be like, oh, is this what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? Like just pressing buttons.
Well, some people that's good for some people love that. There's nothing wrong
I
with
know
that,
it's
right?
just wasn't what I was foreseeing, and
Yeah, yeah.
and actually I dropped my major from computer science and I just went straight for business studies because I just wanted to
Oh,
finish
geez.
quick
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
just come back. Yeah. So when I came back, I actually have a friend that I met online before from playing video games, and he was a songwriter himself, just like a bedroom songwriter. And he said, "Oh, I heard you. You told me that you record stuff, right? Can you help me record my own song?" And I'm like, "Sure, you can come over to my place." And when I started recording him, he was a guitarist and started playing his own song, and it really made me find it very interesting in how he structured melodies, how he came up with lyrics and how he just made melodies out from the blue. And I told him, hey, I want to learn that. Can you please teach me how to play the guitar? So he just taught me the basics of guitars, which you can actually search on YouTube now. Basic
Yes.
standard chords.
Yeah, you just need the
Yeah,
four chords, right?
yeah. So I used those four chords and I kept writing, 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 and I finally wrote something that I thought, oh, it sounds pretty all right. And I would keep posting my demos up on Facebook weekly, just to share it to my friends. And then one day someone messaged me inbox that was in the industry, said, hey, I heard your demos. Sounds pretty good. Are you interested in being a songwriter? And then I was still in a normal job. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Just sure, take the song.
I love
And
that. And who was that person that you met that emailed you?
someone that was working in, she was actually working in Leon Lai's company,
Oh,
AJ
wow.
Music. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
So that's how I landed the Janice gig. My first song was Janice took it, and
Okay, so they sold it to Janice then. That was her
yeah,
song, the song that you
yeah,
had. Oh, man,
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Wow. And at the time, you knew who she was, obviously.
I knew who she was, but I wasn't really into the Cantonese music scene. But
Oh,
I mean,
how ironic.
she was a hit artist back then
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So
What year were we
so
talking about here? What year was this?
I think like 2009.
Okay, so yeah, she just started. I think not too long has just
Yeah,
started coming out, right?
yeah.
Okay, that wow, 2009. That was a year into me teaching. I started teaching in 2008. So yeah, I
Mhm.
remember those. I remember those times. My goodness, it
Yeah,
was her and then Justin, and they were all those
yeah,
that crew all hanging out
yeah,
together. Yeah, I remember.
yeah. So
So what
that's
was that like for you when somebody actually like I mean just think about this. You had no intention of being in the music industry. You couldn't even play piano, you couldn't even play the guitar. You were playing around with beats and then all of a sudden you but the one thing that you kept doing was you kept at it. You just kept doing it and you kept doing it for fun and enjoying it and so consistently then somebody picked it up. So what was that like for you in that moment when you sold the song and it was released by a well-known singer for the first time?
I was really proud of myself. Like as it was a really strange feeling just to because I remember I was driving home and then I heard the song on the radio and I was like, whoa. And then it just felt
That's familiar.
yeah, it felt really interesting. And then at that year she had a concert in Hong Kong Coliseum. And that venue was packed. And when
Yeah.
she sang my song, and then I just saw like 10,000 people listening to my song, I felt overwhelmed, and I was just like, oh, I want to write more music to touch people, or just to let the audience hear what I want to write. And that's when I had this thought that I'm gonna quit my job.
Oh my gosh!
And
So at the time you were still at the IT company.
yeah, I was still working. Yeah.
So what would can you just what is that was it like a switch? What is it, a light bulb? Like how is that people talk about that moment when they discover their purpose, whether it's with music or whether it's with something
I
else?
just quit. I
It was
just
just
quit.
like that quick moment, like
Yeah,
you knew.
I knew, and I just thought this was the opportunity to go in. Like I can't miss it, and I just took it. And I mean, nothing. I don't want to be going to work every day and just thinking what I'm gonna do. And versus, oh, I really want to do it. So I just switched. I didn't think about the consequences at that
And
time.
what did your parents think about that? Your
They
conservative
were a bit
parents.
skeptical about it.
Of course.
I had a lot of lectures during dinner. But it's funny though because after years of my work, my dad started seeing my songs on TV and started
Oh.
hearing my songs on radio and or maybe YouTube and stuff. He starts sharing it. And
Aw.
yeah, and he knows that I'm doing this for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he stopped the nagging and stuff. Yeah.
Right. And then he
And-
saw that this was maybe what you were meant to be. This is what you were meant to do and he saw that.
yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. So, I'd love to know what have been you've been in the industry really since 2008, 2009
Actually,
ish.
officially is like 2010.
Oh,
Yeah.
officially
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
And so, what was one of the biggest challenge that you faced in your music career?
Hmm. I guess for doing music, like I think music is such an artistical thing. So producing different artists is definitely a challenge every time because you have to deal with different personalities, different mentality. Um, so I think that's one of the big challenge every time when you walk into the studio and how to you know connect with the singer. I'm not saying every time it works, but if it doesn't work, you have to find a method to make it work because you need it to work for to get a good performance on the song. Yeah, so I
Yes.
think that's pretty challenging.
In previous interviews I had 2 interviews ago, I spoke with Robin. Robin and Candy, Robin Ip, and we had that conversation as well about the importance of just that mindset piece of going into a
yeah,
recording studio, and then if that relationship with the producer, that chemistry or that understanding is not there, it can really really affect you as a singer.
yeah.
Um,
It's a lot. Like even the environment itself, like so many factors that you have to put in. But once you work with that artist more than once, you start to catch that rhythm. Then the next time, and the more you do, it's just a lot smoother, and you just build a bond.
Yeah, and that's really really special. And I think that's one of the reasons why, for you, you work on multiple songs with one. You're not just working on one song with one artist, one song. You're like working on. I know
Yeah,
that you're working on full albums with them too.
yeah.
What has been one of the highlights of your career?
Highlights. Um,
Probably too many, but one of them. Pick one highlight that is just like, oh, I'm going to remember that.
um, oh, there's one moment. I was working with Carrie, and
Yeah,
we were
Carrie
doing,
Faye.
yeah, yeah. We were working on that whole album.
Yes,
It
I
was,
I know which one. I have the picture in my studio in the poster.
yeah. There's this one song. It was a really, really emotional track, and it was quite personal for her too. And but for some reason, she wasn't in that mindset in the studio. And every take she did, it was just I wasn't feeling it. And so we started because I'm actually really close to her. So we had an argument, and she was just like, oh, frustrated. Oh, I can't do it, blah blah blah. And then she started saying, I know my voice really well. I can't do it. I just can't do it. And this is one of the challenging moments. And I just told her, yeah, you might know your voice for quite pretty well because you're yourself, but I've been listening to your music for since our friendship started, and I know what you're capable of. Just put down that ego or put down that baggage that you have, and just feel the music. And she's like, okay, I'm sorry. And then she goes in, boom, one full take, and that was the take on the song.
Oh,
It
I
was
love
just like
it.
that. Yeah. It was
What was
just
the
like that.
song?
今夜煙花燦爛.
Oh, yes, I know that song. I
Yeah.
know that song. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me that all of us when we listen to songs, and people when they listen to songs, they have their own connection with them, memories that it brings back, and things like that. But songs themselves have stories, and a lot of stories for all the different people involved. So it makes it really interesting in that what you talked about with music, it communicates beyond words. That song, when you hear it, for you, it brings up very, very different memories than somebody who heard that song when they broke up or whatnot, right? But you are connected with that song, which I think is
Because I
beautiful.
actually I know that because those lyrics, I personally know what's happening in the lyrics too. So that moment, when I felt the lyrics, I know that was it too. Like
Yeah.
yeah, because the audience has to feel it too. If you can't, yeah. So I that was a really memorable, and that was when I kind of learned that, oh, the mindset is such a strong impact on the performance. And
Huge.
yeah,
I mean, this is one of the things that we talk about all the time in coaching is just that mindset, and that really is like I would say like takes up 80 or 90% of a
yeah,
person's ability to execute, to really sing songs and hit notes. It's not, it's really that mindset. And I think that
yeah.
vocal training, or training in general, it's training you to control
Cope
your
with that.
mindset.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
so true. So I'd love to know, whether or not, so people are watching now, some who maybe want to be in the music industry, or maybe they don't, but whether or not someone wants to be in music professionally, what would you say is the number one factor that separates somebody who's just okay at music from somebody who really really has skill? Like, what would you say is that defining factor?
I don't really set a line between these two because I don't think I think I don't I always believe in music has no rule. Music is always a personal thing, and everyone perceives music differently, so there's no right or wrong, you know. And like if you go online, there's so many, you know, YouTubers or just online musicians that are never professionally trained, and they make really really good music. And sometimes they make better than professional, you know, trained people. So I don't think you should let that put you down at first. And of course, you gotta enjoy what you're doing, and I think you should just go for it and don't let these rules or whatever constrain you into trying to pursue something that you want.
Yeah, and I think that that's so true. Is that often as artists, especially with something like singing, it is very, very personal. It's very tied to who we are. And, as you know, you've had vocal lessons. You've been around a lot of singers, and it's singing is a very vulnerable experience. You're standing there on stage, and any thought you have can at any given moment affect the quality of your voice. And so it makes it all the more important that that mindset piece is strong. But at the same time, I think it's true that people are it's not about being perfect. It's not about perfection. It's not about hitting the notes in a way that's going to impress everybody.
It's never.
It's never about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about me personally. I think it's about making choices and having tools to be expressive and to do different things and to explore what your voice is actually capable of doing.
Yeah. For me, it's always all about the emotions first, and it's never about the like, yeah, like you said, is that person trained? Is he doing all that properly? It's never about that for me.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I come from a background with no training, you know, but it's just through experience and through, you know, experimenting. Like that's
Yes.
what I want to mention. Like when you're not musically trained, you would explore a lot more because you would want to find out how to do certain stuff. You would, you know, and in that process, you would discover a lot of new or maybe something that hasn't been discovered before. Whereas if you're professionally trained, I'm not saying everyone does, but some people get locked into some kind of formula, right?
Yes.
And and
So
and
true.
and that
Yes.
blocks your creativity.
100%. And we
Yeah,
get into this mindset of like, well, it can't be like that because, I was taught this way.
yeah,
It
yeah.
can't be that way. Yeah, I totally agree. It's really interesting that you say that because one, I was not formally trained either in music. And so when I tell people I actually went to university for film and English, they look at me like, "What? You didn't study music?" I said, "Nope." So, but it's interesting because my parents are both, as you know, they're both in the music industry, and they were not formally trained either. And they told me there is no need for you to be formally trained in music to be really good at it. You need to feel it, you need to experience it, you need to have it in your life, you need to enjoy it. And so that's
Yeah,
I never had.
music is all about feeling. It's
Yeah.
never, yeah. I mean, having professional training will maybe help you in certain aspects of stuff, or maybe you can take shortcuts on a lot of stuff. But I think it's also fun experimenting and discovering stuff too. It's a process that can be enjoyed.
I love it.
And
I love that. It's a journey and it's an
yeah.
exploration of discovery. You really, really don't know
Like
what.
there's many examples too. It's just like sometimes like professionally trained people would ask me, "Oh, how did you think of that? How did you do that?" You know, because they can't think of it. You know, so there is a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. I want to shift gears a little bit here. Just want to talk about this a little bit because of what's going on in the music industry right now. Of course, the music industry, like many industries, has been affected by the pandemic, and so I just was curious and wanted to know, how has COVID impacted you and your work? Has it just changed the circumstances for you, or how has it been for you?
Um, it definitely affected because uh music is just a bit harder to market at this moment, and you know, there's just a whole energy and environment. You know, people aren't they may not want to focus on music or entertainment that much, but that never stopped me from writing. I still write. You know, one day it'll recover, right? So when it's recovered, I'll be ready or I'll be prepared already. And you know, there's online. I've still been producing online too. It's something that I discovered just like past months, and it
So, what do
worked
you mean?
out.
Like somebody will send you some tracks online, and then everything is just done, like they record it somewhere else?
Actually, they would book a studio overseas, and my computer can connect to their studio's sound
Oh,
system,
yeah. Cool.
and I would
That's
just
awesome.
produce them over, Skype or something. And
Oh my God.
it's actually the same. Yeah, it's
But
just
but the
that I'm not
person
physically.
who's but the person who's recording, would they have to be in a music recording studio, or could you do that with somebody in their bedroom, like a Billie Eilish?
As long as they have a recording setup, they can do it at home. Yeah, a recording, like a
So
simple
cool.
recording setup and a computer.
Okay,
You,
so wait, so they have a simple recording setup, like interface, some like
yeah,
simple gear.
yeah,
They connect online, and you can be on the other end
and listen
at
to what?
real time
Yes,
listening
real
to
time.
them.
Yes.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
We've got to do
I, I've been
that.
doing that. That's yeah,
I love
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
love it. That is amazing. I think there's so much that is possible, and of course, yes, all of us have been affected, right? There's nobody who hasn't been affected, but I think that with that, there's opportunities too. And what I really love about you, Gareth, and just getting to know you during this interview, this side of you, is that you approach everything with this openness. You approach opportunities with this sense of like, why not? Which I
Yeah,
really love and I really admire.
yeah, thanks. It's just always because I enjoy what I'm doing. So, like, I remember when I first got into the industry, people would like offer me, "Oh, do you want to help me edit these vocals or do these vocal cuttings and stuff?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll do it for free." On passive, I think because you're giving me an opportunity to learn, and you
Yeah.
know, through these years of so-called sitai, right? I picked up my own craft, and then I started doing my own thing. So I think, you know, me getting to learn from the sitai is actually I earn more than sitai. Yeah.
Yeah, I could not agree more. All right, so I want to ask well, two more last questions. One is, what is one piece of advice you would have for somebody who is interested in actually taking music more seriously, but doesn't have, well, you talked about it, who doesn't have a music degree, but where do they begin? Say they don't have a music degree, they don't even know how to play an instrument. What's the first step for them?
The first step is, I think YouTube is like the way to go. Seriously. I mean, if you think about it, like I built my
Learn,
own
learn, learn.
yeah,
Yes.
I built my own first studio like by myself from YouTube. Like
Yeah.
YouTube is so informative. Like there's just so much you can learn, and it's always about it's also you got to put in a lot of time in practicing, crafting that work. It does make a big difference, and you just gotta. I don't know. It was pretty natural for me because I just really love it so much that I didn't even think it was tiring. I just kept doing it,
Yeah.
kept learning.
You know what's really interesting is that we have a lot of students, like mentioned before, that there's obviously students that want to be professional, and there's actually quite a lot of if probably more students that have lessons with us that don't really want to be professional, but they love music. They love what you're
That's
talking about,
totally fine.
right?
That's
And it's
totally fine.
so, but I think that there's so much value in that because and Solera is on here right now, and I'm sure she'll vouch for that. But there is so much crossovers in terms of like what music and just having music in your life and connecting with music and getting lost in music and really practicing and getting good at it. That can expand you in so many ways. So I just wanted to know, if you weren't, say for whatever reason, a music career hadn't worked out for you, do you think that you would still have? Do you think you
I'd
would still be
still
just
be
as good?
doing it. I'd still
I
be
love
doing it like by myself. I'd probably still be posting demos on Facebook. Yeah,
yeah, that's
because
so true.
because I just love the fact that people can hear my music. I didn't know if my stuff really care what people think. I just want to share what I wrote to people. Like if you don't like it, don't listen to it. If you like it, nice. But
And you're not going to please everybody, right? I mean, that's just the
you
nature of
can't
how
because,
everything is. Yeah.
like I
And that's not
said,
why we do it, is right?
yeah, yeah, and like I said, it's music is such a personal thing too. So I don't ever like let people bring you down and like let people's comment or whatever bring you down because you always have your own self. You always have your own style. You always have your own personality and everything. Yeah.
So, so true. Thank you so much for that. All right. So, finally, what exciting project is coming up next for you, and where can people find you? How can they follow you in your work? You don't have a website, Gareth.
I'm pretty bad with social media, so I only have an Instagram, and
Okay.
you can just search my name, but probably in Chinese on YouTube, and you pretty much find all the musics that I've been doing or I've done in the past, and yeah, upcoming I'm just doing more music, more songs, and these 2 years I've been working closely with Alfred Ho.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, we did our first song 2 years ago, and we built this connection and really trust each other, and he just really allowed me to experiment a lot of different types of music on him, and he was never in a closing mode. He was just like, oh, he's really open about it too,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
through this process we built a pretty strong trust between each other, and yeah, it's working really well. And
So
like
yeah, yeah, I wanted to
yesterday
ask you
we
about yesterday.
yeah, yesterday I did a live show for him, so um yeah, it went really well, and he trusts me in putting up a live show for him. I'm not into live shows, but he's like, oh, you should just do it for me. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go for it.
Can we watch that live show? It's done, obviously, but is it reposted somewhere that we can see it?
It's on the Jukes app. I think you can just go in
Okay.
and click and watch it.
Okay, great. So Juke's app, and then it's the Alfred Hoy live
Yeah,
show
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
yesterday. Okay, great.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much, Gareth. That was so inspiring. I just want to jump into the comments here a little bit. I have a few people here that have messaged. Um, Shafin says, I'm watching during dinner and getting and asking myself, what am I doing? Getting asked what I'm doing. Okay. I think it's so great that you followed your own passion. Couldn't agree more. I have training also in what I do. I have no training in also what I do professionally. Yes. Very trained in piano. Have no idea how to, but I feel like I have no idea how to make music. So, Lara, you are making music. You're singing. That is making music. Nice to meet you. Get Karina. I hope you're that. Karina's also a member of our inner
Like
circle
I have
here.
to say,
Mm-hmm.
if I had more time right now, I would still come to take vocal lessons for sure. It's just like
Ah.
it's so it's because I still want to improve my on my own demos. Like
Yeah.
even though right now I have like own demo singers and stuff, but I would really want to sing my own demos
So
in the
you know
future.
what, Gareth, I'm going to invite you to join as an inner circle member. Because that is all. That's what we do. We actually, our members, they post songs, they practice, they post songs, we give them group guidance, that's what we do in this community. So we have all kinds of people there. Some people who do want to be professionals, some people who just are doing this for passion, but everybody is united in singing. So I hope that you will make an appearance again in our inner circle membership. But you know what? We are not done yet here. So let me just go scroll down there and say hello, everybody. Okay, great. And Karina says, keep up your great work. I know your parents will be proud of you. Yes, for sure. All right. So thank you so much, Gareth. And I want to just remind everybody here who's an Inner Circle member, we do have a private session coming up with Gareth over Zoom. So if you have any follow-up questions you'd like to ask him, we're there for you. And it's going to happen on the Zoom link that you would have received immediately after this interview. So we're going to be talking in more depth about some topics that maybe we didn't quite cover fully today. We're going to be talking specifically about singing and vocal recordings, and then you'll get to personally ask Gareth any questions you may have. All right. So thank you all so much again, and stay tuned. Thank you so much, Gareth, for coming on here and sharing your inspiring stories for
Thank you for
everybody.
the invite.
Yeah, we'd
It
love
was
to have you on again. And everybody at watching YouTube and Facebook, thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or the replay. Stay tuned again next month for another Ask the Expert guest interview. And I'll see you all. Bye for now. Bye
bye bye.
bye.